All right, welcome everybody to another segment of our Building Wealth Through Entrepreneurship Conference. Of course, we're talking about building wealth through entrepreneurship, individuals working in business, Black families. We know that building wealth has just been an issue, and what we did, we tapped a lot of successful entrepreneurs, successful business owners who can really give their view of how they were able to build Black wealth in their business and for their family. Today, we're talking to Yolanda Keels-Walker, president and founder of the Business Babes. And Yolanda, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. So as Leonard said, my name is Yolanda Keels-Walker. I am the founder of the Business Babes, established in 2013. I'm also a serial entrepreneur with businesses that span the industries of real estate as well as contracting, private contracting.
Okay. And Yolanda is also my wife, but we're doing this in separate rooms just for the video effect. But so like when we talk about Black wealth, what does that mean to you? I know there's a lot of stereotypes regarding Black wealth, and everybody has their own opinion. And what is your opinion of Black wealth in America today?
So I personally feel that Black wealth is really about freedom and opportunities. For a very, very long time, we were denied a lot of, and still are, opportunities, and we face a lot of systematic oppression across the board. And so really, as African Americans, it's very, very imperative for us to build wealth and to legacy build on behalf of ourselves and our families. So on a personal level, it's really about having the resources, the money, the assets to be able to live life on my own terms.
Gotcha. And when were you first introduced to Black wealth? Was it somebody in your family, somebody in the community, like a teacher? Like who was that person who made you start thinking about building wealth?
My grandfather is probably the first person that I knew that actually owned his own business. I can't say that he was wealthy, though, even though he was a preacher and had two churches. He also had a farm, and then he had a 9-to-5, all while raising 8 children. So, that didn't necessarily look like wealth to me, but it did look like hard work. In terms of like real money, I went to Hampton. And so, most of us were middle class to upper middle class. And you would have some people that, kind of came from wealthy families, but it wasn't until after graduating and being, in the corporate world, I noticed a woman. I was on a team that was doing some due diligence because we were buying her company. And I saw the things that she was just really able to amass after putting in that hard work via entrepreneurship. And I mean, she wasn't a Black woman. She was a white woman. I saw her, that was like the first year that the Porsche Panamera came out. And so, she had it in the office and she's showing me all of the perks that it has. And, Porsche's driving it up to the job and she's, kind of getting in and showing everybody what it looks like as we're going back into our salaried jobs and, working where we worked. It would take many, many years before we'd be able to afford the type of car that she had. Her home, for those of you that are in the DC area, she lived in Northern Virginia, Great Falls area, and purchased, a home on 4 acres. So, it was, a multi-million-dollar home. And, at the time too, she also, kind of retired her husband and had a plan for her retiring after we purchased her company. And so that was real wealth to me, just someone that I could see and, kind of touch on a daily basis and aspire to become.
Gotcha. And as far as yourself individually, how did your entrepreneurship journey begin?
Yeah. So I had, several ideas. I think my first business was like a dog treat business that didn't do very well because I didn't really care for dogs. At the time, I didn't have a dog. I didn't like dogs. But I was reading in a magazine like, hey, this is a great industry to get into. And, it was a failure because it wasn't something that I really cared about. Number one, I had done a little bit of research and tried it. And, my pastries at the time, they didn't have a great shelf life. They were natural. The way that I packaged them wasn't working. And so, that was a little problematic for me. And then I got into consulting, which I've been doing kind of off and on for a while. And my first successful business was after the birth of, my first daughter. I kind of noticed that, just working and coming home and being in that DC traffic, driving and being in traffic for, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, working until 7, and then, asking me at 7 p.m., where are you going? Like, I'm going home to my newborn baby. That was when I kind of decided, like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this corporate gig forever. And, in terms of just my mentality at the time, I'd already read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was just really trying to figure out what it was that, I wanted to do. I thought about doing a cupcakery and all of these different thoughts. But it wasn't until the birth of my second daughter that I had really kind of focused and honed in on my first profitable business, which was a niche salon. And I was really able to just take my corporate skills in terms of strategy and analysis and, kind of niche it out and build it to 3 locations and 7 figures in sales in about 18 months.
Okay. And when you started that first business, was there any fear or anxiety or, anything that was kind of holding you back initially?
Yeah, there was a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety because it wasn't something that I had done. It was a hair salon, and I'm not a hairstylist by trade. I went to Hampton and got a business degree. To this day, I still can't, cut, curl, braid, do any of those things. And so when, I told my family, hey, I'm going to open up a hair salon, they all kind of looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't really have that support system that I was looking for at the time. Even my mom was like, girl, don't give up your job. You're making 6 figures, you're a manager, you're doing all these things. Like, you're crazy to give up that amazing job and, kind of give up all the hard work you're doing. I remember, a fellow salon owner at the time telling me nobody's going to work for me because I just moved to Philly and I'm from Virginia, and people from Philly, they can't relate to my Southern drawl and, kind of the way that I am. And so, that was a little disheartening. The business model that I had a lot of people second guess it. One of the neighboring salons in the area, told me, he was like, oh, I give you 3 months. There's no way anybody is going to, there's no way, nobody's going to work for you. No one is going to, come in because, you're not somebody that people here know. So, I mean, there were a lot of just, people that kind of doubted me, and a lot of anxiety I had in terms of just getting it done.
Gotcha. And that neighboring salon owner, did you ever get a chance to interact with them after your business was successful, or did he ever come say anything to you?
He's a whole hater. And so there was never one of those moments like, wow, you really did great. He did go out of business that next year. So I would drive by him in my Porsche to work every single day, and I would wave, and there would be a line outside of my establishment, and I know he knew it. And, there were some comments on the back end that, of course, kind of came into me where he was, oh, I don't understand how, she did this. And at that point in time, I kind of knew that a lot of people didn't understand, and I just did not feel the need to explain it to them because it was, my kind of secret sauce at the time. And I feel like with a good strategy and, of course, with systems in place, like you can work a lot of businesses if you have, the right niche.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but I know he knows.
Gotcha. And then, so how did being a salon owner, how did that roll over into the brand that you're probably most known for now, the Business Babes?
Yeah, so that salon, I ended up stepping away from it because, sometimes you can be a victim of your own success. And at the time, I was married to someone who was a business partner. And when you aren't on the same page as somebody, it can really kind of drive a wedge between you. And so I ended up selling my share of that business. And during that time, I was going through, a divorce, a business divorce, and it was just a really, really ugly situation. And this is, I guess Instagram was just coming out, but, there weren't really a lot of people in the area that I knew that I could talk to. I really didn't have a lot of friends that were entrepreneurs. All of my girls are like lawyers, doctors, PR, like they're in PR. They're all in like these super professional trades, and they're not really looking to get into entrepreneurship. And so, you know, they would be buying Prada, Louis, Gucci, and I'm buying, you know, salon chairs and towels and kind of sacrificing, but also still living well. And so it was a little problematic for me. And so, you know, the Business Babes was really birthed out of me needing to just be around and, you know, in companionship with other women that, you know, were kind of going through things, that had employees, you know, that, you know, didn't want to work for them, but wouldn't mind working for a man, or, you know, that had issues kind of, you know, kind of taking orders or being late. You know, what does that look like? What does that stress look like? That understood, you know, payroll and payroll issues and having to make that payroll and, you know, your overhead and all of these other things. I just needed that in my life, and I needed a strong circle of women who, you know, could relate, and then also could relate to the crazy side too, you know, because at the time I'm parting from, you know, an ex-husband and an ex-business partner, and, you know, it was just a very, very ugly situation. And so, you know, a lot of women were, you know, just very supportive because they had, you know, kind of seen me in business, and had, you know, just met me out, and they were just very sympathetic to a lot of the things that I was going to, and they can relate. Like, who hasn't had, you know, a crazy breakup or just a crazy situation where, you know, you entrusted somebody to do something, and, you know, they didn't do it, or you got burned, or, you know, you've just been through some things. And so, you know, a lot of what I had gone through, it just resonated, and it resonated, of course, primarily with women and with other women that wanted to either start businesses, that had, you know, been burned in businesses. And, you know, we kind of clicked up, and the Babes were formed.
Gotcha. And then, so watching the video, there may be a lot of women who are in that same situation, maybe coming out of relationships, single moms. The same for the fellas, maybe some single fathers, father coming out of relationships. For people who are looking to start a business now, but they are scared, maybe they're scared that it won't make any money. Maybe they're scared that, you know, people will criticize them. Maybe they're scared that, you know, they don't have the right product or service, or they just don't know how to run a business. What advice would you give for those people who want to start but just don't have the direction, or maybe just fear, anxiety?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to start. And whatever that goal is that you have, it really needs to be stronger than any of those fears. And so anytime, you know, you're kind of faced with uncertainty or fear or, you know, criticism or, you know, just anything where you're doubting what it is that you're doing, you need to qualify it against that goal. So, you know, I think we talked earlier, like one of our goals was to leave our children $1 million in assets, right?
Right.
So on top, I know that I need $4 million in assets to be able to leave to my kids, right? So if I'm concerned about what this chick over here is saying, and that's going to make me, you know, pause or not do something or not promote what I have, is my fear bigger than, you know, me being able to do the things that I need to do in order to establish and build wealth for my family? Like, no, you know, she's not paying any of their bills. She's definitely not contributing to their college education. Um, they don't know her. So I'm concerned about the wrong things if I'm thinking about, you know, what's over here. So I always just qualify it. And my goals are always, you know, big, audacious goals. And the things that, you know, may scare me, I just have to do them scared.
Gotcha. So in your business, when did you really start thinking about building wealth? You know, so I know a lot of people who start a business, their main objective is to pay, you know, make money to pay bills. Was there a turning point in your business where you kind of got that epiphany where it's like, okay, you know what? Like, forget the present, but I also need to start saving for the future.
So I kind of scaled it from the beginning. Anytime I go into like, you know, that ideation phase of, you know, hey, this is the idea I have, I always go in also with a dollar amount and I scale it to that point. Like, I'm very visual. I need to see it. I need the numbers written out. I need to chart the path. to get to where I want. And so I scale it to, that $500,000 mark, that $1 million mark. And then, I reverse engineer it. So I know that I need X amount of products, X amount of ebooks. I need to do X amount of services in order to get to whatever that kind of looks like. So I always start with the money, because that's how, the engine keeps going. And if I don't make, whatever those particular goals, then you can set up all types of contingencies. Like, one of the things that I did for the salon, if I did not meet my daily quota of sales or, clients, then I would say, okay, I need to go out and introduce myself to 50 people today before I go home. So, I'm out with flyers and talking to women, giving them compliments. Oh, you look lovely. My name's Yolanda. Here's my salon. I'd love to, be able to service you, and, just talk to them about it so that, I feel like I've done something to help me get kind of closer to my goal.
Gotcha. Okay. And, of course, watching the video as well, just full transparency, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be getting into entrepreneurship because it looks glamorous, it looks sexy, they think they're going to make a lot of money. And, there are a lot of misconceptions regarding entrepreneurship. What were some of the misconceptions that you experienced, starting your business and maybe even present?
Wow, I had a lot. I felt like, I'm young and Black, and, at the time I was like building my family, and I thought that, everybody that looked like me was gonna just all of a sudden want to support me, because a win for one of us is a win for all of us. And that wasn't true. A lot of people are, just envious and jealous. You don't even have to have it. If you look like you have it, if, they think you're going to get it, they are not going to support you. And, we call it the crabs in a barrel syndrome. And that happens so often. I hear a lot of people, oh, nobody's thinking about you. Nobody's talking about you. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. And if you allow that negative talk and comments from other people, like nowadays everybody has that shade room mentality where you could have something amazing going on in your life, but everybody's kind of looking for the punchline. And so I think that's a definite just issue when it comes to people of color, especially nowadays. Some other stuff, just surface stuff, like, of course, support. I was looking for my mom's total support, and she was like, girl, go get your job. But, she clearly comes from another generation. So I understood that. And, at this point in life, she's, coming to, both of us to, kind of help her start her business, even though she's been working for 25 plus some years. What other misconceptions? And that everybody's gonna do the right thing. Like, people will burn you if you let them. People will lie on you if you let them. Having I think at the height of my salon ownership, and thankfully I've sold all of them, but I had in upwards of like 35 people working for me at one time. And, it was rough. Not everybody is going to come to work on time. Not everybody's going to put pride into their work. Not everyone is going to be professional. Not everyone even understands, what it means to have a job. They don't learn it in school. A lot of them definitely don't learn it at home. And so, just kind of having to teach that on the job in the right way was, a little frustrating for me at times, especially dealing with, a lot of young people, but it definitely needs to be done. Yep.
So backtracking a little bit, you mentioned about lack of family support, which is probably something that, a lot of entrepreneurs face. So what advice would you give for those people who maybe they're in a relationship and their partner is a 9-to-5, faithful, and he or she doesn't understand the entrepreneurship life? Or, somebody with parents and friends and family who just, are always kind of like you mentioned, discouraging them, telling them to get a 9-to-5.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard, full transparency. As you say, this is a second marriage for both of us. And so, we've both kind of just been through relationships with people that were not necessarily, they didn't necessarily get 100% of what we may have been going through at the time, or, some of those changes. And especially if it's something that you're transitioning into. Sometimes people want to be supportive. They just don't necessarily know how to be supportive. And, too, sometimes as an entrepreneur, we just go and that until is like, until it's done. And, for some other people, they're like, no, my bedtime's at 10, like I stop at 10. And so, you just really have to like be mindful of that, but it can't all be about you
Right.
too. Like, you definitely have to like feed those relationships. The nice thing about, kind of being with, another entrepreneur is, we're kind of doing this from Mexico.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, like I'm outside and you're inside here, but, if I had a traditional 9 to 5, we wouldn't be able to have the type of lifestyle where, we can roll out when we want and, kind of come back. So it just all depends. I know that B. Simone got a lot of flack recently for, saying, oh, I don't want a man that has a 9 to 5. But, in a lot of instances, I can understand her because you really do need somebody that at least like understands and supports. And you're not going to resent because they're like really off at 5 o'clock and you're working till 5 a.m. the next day trying to build your business.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, speaking of family support, how do you balance, and I know you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, and schedules can be crazy. How do you balance, and take me out the equation, but how do you balance family life? So, of course, entrepreneurs can work crazy schedules, but of course, there's kids at home who need, attending to. There's a dog at home that needs attending to. So how do you make that balance where you kind of feel like everybody is maybe not satisfied, but everybody is getting, a certain amount of attention?
So I think instead of balance is more so integration. For me and, our household, I just kind of go. So I know in the morning everybody needs to eat. I know around noon everybody needs to eat. I know at night everybody needs to eat. I know during the day, they need a certain amount of snacks. And so, food prepping and Costco runs and, timers and just kind of like setting myself up for family success every week and then kind of scheduling what that family time looks like. For us, again, we do have the freedom to kind of be out, and so we just recently bought an RV for our family where this fall our kids won't be going to school traditionally, they'll be working from home. So why can't we go out and camp for the week and they be on their electronics and kind of get out, still have family time, but, everybody's kind of working too. And so from a very young age, I really kind of talked to, my girls about working and how much mommy has to work and why I have to work and just really breaking it down like, hey, in order for you to live this life and for you to, be able to get these things and buy your Robux and play your games and all these other things, I have to work. And so they're supportive of me working because they tie it into, hey, I need to be able to get these things too. And then now that they're older, they're a great help to me. They want to do Canva stuff. They, know how to add emails and, so I've really kind of integrated them into my work life. And they know, hey, when I'm doing a live, I need to be quiet. If she's meeting with a client, I need to be quiet. They know how to behave. And I taught them that from a very, very young age with some bribing. It wasn't easy, but I definitely bribed them and then kind of paid them too, to where like now they understand they have their debit cards, they do something, I put a little money on there. They're learning how these things work. And so, it's really all about like just integration and kind of, being there, even for, us being married. Like sometimes it's hard to get away, especially when you have competing interests and you're working. Okay, well, we're going to work from Mexico. So when we're off, like we can be on
Right.
later. Yeah. So you just integrate it.
Okay. Now, backtracking a little bit just with the business page, because I know you work with, or, audience of over 150,000 online. Do you have any stories of women who you were able to kind of like help understand the value of building wealth?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I think like the most pivotal moment for me and just understanding like the weight of the brand was, after I, kind of went through like a very public and messy divorce, and a lot of them just reached out and said, hey, the way that you bodied that, like that makes me want to be a better person. I'm a whole single mom and I'm trying to do these things. And the fact that, you've been able to do all that you've been able to do at this point as a single mom, like, that's inspirational to me. And so, there are countless stories of women that I know that, are raising 1, 2, 3 kids by themselves, writing books, opening restaurants, having food trucks. Um, you know, who else? I have some clients that, have fitness brands because they got it right and tight, after they got their kids. I have, a couple of just friends and business partners, and, we all kind of help each other level up. Like I'm that person that everybody calls when they need, like, okay, help me figure this out, help me kind of scale this. Um, yeah, so there have been several people. I think I'm most proud of, the single moms, because I know that space and it's not easy at all. But yeah.
Okay, so along with the business babe, which I'm sure probably everyone knows who you are. As far as, let's say, people who are introduced to your brand, maybe your family, friends, what type of legacy are you looking to leave? So, of course, at one point we won't be here anymore. How would you like to be remembered?
Wow. So I never really started out in entrepreneurship to inspire anybody. I just, kind of wanted to do my thing, and I was really interested in seeing how it goes. I think the most important thing for me is to, is like the debt I owe to my family, and just making sure that, for generations we are going to be okay, because, I'm absolutely a direct result of, both of my grandmother's prayers. I've seen some of the things that they've tried to do in the past, and the fact that I've been able to bring a lot of those things to fruition. I really feel like I owe it to, my granddaughter, my great granddaughter, to make sure that, I kind of help them get to that space too. So, definitely just being able to leave our children $1 million legacies, to help them and their children kind of have a leg up is, probably the biggest thing that, I want to do. And if I inspire anybody along the way, I'm happy about that.
Okay. And so as part of the conference, and hopefully this will be inspiration to a lot of people, as part of the conference, every speaker and contributor has contributed a bundle of resources, materials, videos, more that is really going to be helping business owners build wealth and, help them out in their business. What did you contribute to the bundle, just so people would know?
So two things. I have a course that helps you convert your content into engaging, and content that's gonna convert your followers into actual customers. So not only does it help you, to create content, but it also helps you to create that content that is going to get some reaction out of your followers, as well as, some copy, and some templates and things that can help you really make more money in your business. One of the major complaints I get is like, I've been posting and my followers aren't up and they're not buying and they're not doing these things. There's a little bit of a science to that. And so I broke that down in, our Content Queen package. And then I also have, a masterclass on how to, um, directly certify your business as a minority and woman-owned business. And so I feel like that's important because there are a lot of set-asides, out there for us, for people of color, for women. And, a lot of us are taking advantage of that. Also right now, given everything that has gone on, just this spring and this summer, a lot of companies are paying more attention to, diversity and inclusion. And so I think just being certified can also help you just be able to win more work with a lot of these companies that are looking to do business with minority and women-owned businesses.
All right, thank you. And just for everybody out there, so just to recap what she was saying, so we have a bundle of resources. Of course, Yolanda Keels-Walker has submitted resources, and then we have all of our other speakers. So we probably have about 9 to 10 different courses that people have submitted. This is on sale. It'll be on sale until next Friday, the 15th. It is $199, but it's probably worth $5,000 or more in resources. And if you're looking to build wealth, this bundle will definitely get you started on your way. Yolanda, again, I thank you, even though you may not have much of a choice, but I thank you for being a participant, and we'll talk to you later. Oh, I'm sorry. Let people know how they can get in contact with you.
So online, our website, businessbabesonline.com. On Instagram, my personal is at Business Babes. The business page is at The Business Babes. And on Facebook, if you put in The Business Babes, we should pop right on up.
Okay. So again, thank you. And I know you're getting bit by those mosquitoes, so we got to hurry up.
He's spraying.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I thank you, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.